Ever heard of a bank robbery so audacious, so successful, that it became the stuff of legend? Today, we're diving deep into the story of the Newton Gang, a group of brothers who pulled off what many call the most successful string of bank and train robberies in American history. This isn't just a tale of crime. It's a look into a bygone era, a story of family, and a wild ride through the roaring 20s. So, who were the Newton boys? They weren't your typical hardened criminals. They were four brothers from a poor cotton farming family in Texas: Willis, Joe, Jess, and Wiley, or Doc. They grew up knowing nothing but hard labor and poverty, and they decided early on that wasn't the life for them. Willis, the leader, was the first to step into the world of crime. After being wrongly convicted and serving time, he came out with a new philosophy. If you're going to steal, steal big, and steal from those who can afford it, like banks and railroads. He figured they were insured, so nobody really got hurt. He called it a business. Between 1919 and 1924, the Newton Gang went on an unprecedented crime spree. They didn't just operate in Texas. Their territory stretched across the Midwest, all the way up to Canada. They were meticulous planners. Unlike the violent gangsters you see in movies, the Newtons preferred to work at night. Their specialty was using nitroglycerin to blow open safes. They became so good at it, they were known as the Blowing Gang. They would carefully study a town, find the bank, and then, under the cover of darkness, they'd drill a hole in the safe, pour in the soup, as they called the nitro, and blast it open. They were ghosts, in and out before anyone knew what happened. Their success was staggering. While exact figures are impossible to confirm, it's estimated they stole millions of dollars. In today's money, that would be an astronomical sum. They stole more money than the more famous Dalton Gang, Jesse James, and Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch combined. And for a while, they lived like kings. They bought fancy clothes, fast cars, and enjoyed the high life that their profession afforded them. They had a code, though. Willis famously said they never killed anyone. Their goal was the money, not bloodshed, which set them apart from many of their contemporaries. They saw themselves as businessmen, not murderers. But as with all such stories, the good times couldn't last forever. Their biggest and final score was also their downfall. In 1924, near Rondout, Illinois, they attempted the largest train robbery in U.S. history, targeting a mail train. It was a chaotic scene. Things went wrong, shots were fired, and one of their own, Doc, was accidentally shot by another gang member. Although they made off with a fortune, the wounded Doc was a weak link. This one mistake led to their capture. The law finally caught up with the Newton boys. The subsequent trial was a media sensation. The brothers were sentenced to prison, but their story didn't end there. They served their time, and upon release, most of them went straight. They lived surprisingly long lives, fading back into relative obscurity. Years later, in their old age, some of the surviving brothers even appeared on television, recounting their wild younger days. Their incredible story was immortalized in books and eventually, a 1998 movie starring Matthew McConaughey and Ethan Hawke, titled The Newton Boys. The legacy of the Newton Gang is a fascinating one. They were gentlemen thieves in an era of violent outlaws, masterminds of a criminal enterprise that was, for a time, unmatched. Their story reminds us that sometimes the most incredible tales from history are the ones that are actually true. What do you think? Were they folk heroes or just common criminals? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this trip back in time, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into history's most fascinating stories. See you next time.